So you've made the decision or are very close to making the decision of leaving your real estate brokerage and you're just not sure how to approach that. Well, you're in luck because today I want to share with you how to leave your real estate brokerage without burning bridges. Hey, it's Jaime with JaimeResendiz.com, where we have one of the fastest growing and largest real estate agent communities worldwide. Over the past 2 years, I've spoken to over 1,000 real estate agents about their real estate brokerage. And many of these conversations have to do with them leaving their real estate brokerage and partnering up with me. And in many cases, real estate agents just aren't aware of how to transition from their present brokerage to a brand new one because there just hasn't been a need before. One gets their real estate license, gets courted by a real estate brokerage, starts doing real estate with that brokerage, and oftentimes that's the only brokerage that a real estate agent knows. So let's look at how to go about this transition. First things first, are you sure? Are you at the point where the decision has been made and there's just no changing it? Have you made up your mind for the final time? Now, if you haven't made the final decision, I can tell you 2 things that you shouldn't do. Number 1 is continue doing business as always. If you are not comfortable, if you don't feel that it's the right place, but it's just not painful enough for you to leave, then don't keep doing things the way that they've been done. And the second thing you shouldn't do is barging into your broker's office, threatening to quit, threatening to leave the brokerage, because that's just not going to be productive. If you're still at the point of being undecided, going to your broker with a few things that you would like to see changed is the right way to do it. You're not going to go to the broker's office to threaten them with leaving or anything like that. You're going to have a conversation. You want to have a dialogue. Now, it's important that in this conversation, you're not threatening to leave, because at this point, you're either going to make the broker upset and nothing's going to be resolved, or 2, the broker is going to get into fear mode, into fright mode, and they're just going to offer you a bunch of things just to coerce you into staying. And oftentimes, if someone's just telling you what you want to hear, chances are that the changes that happen, they're moving forward, aren't going to last long anyway. Now, if you're sure that the present brokerage that you're with is not the one for you, now we can go on to step number 2, and that is where to next. This is where you go online and start researching other opportunities. This is where you go to other real estate agents that are friends of yours and asking about their personal experiences with their brokerage. Have conversations with all of the brokerages that stand out to you, and also review any documents that they're going to ask you to execute upon signing with them. It's important to already have your next move before moving forward, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you physically can't practice real estate given that your license isn't hung with the brokerage. Now, once you've established where to next, it's time to back it up. It's time to download all of your contacts from the CRM. It's time to download any contracts and amendments that are vital to your business that you might not have access to upon you leaving the brokerage that you're with. Any information that you might not have access to after speaking with your broker, which is coming, by the way, needs to be in your possession. You need to back all that up. At the end of the day, you need to keep your business going. So any documents, any amendments, any contracts, anything that is needed for you to continue doing business, that needs to be in your possession. And also your entire database, which is yours, needs to be in your possession as well. You don't want to lose any of that. And the next step is reviewing any documents that you signed upon joining that brokerage. This includes any ICAs, this includes any NDAs, anything that you executed when you joined the brokerage needs to be reviewed by you. There's a lot of fine print in there that you're not going to remember. There's actually a good chance that you probably didn't even read the fine print to begin with. I know I didn't. This is going to give you valuable information for when you have a conversation with your broker, because this is going to let you know what is in the ICA or in the independent contractors agreement. For those of you that are not familiar with what ICA means, this is going to let you know what's in the document, and any other documents that you've executed. You reviewing them is vital for the next steps, because in these documents, it's very spelled out what happens when you leave the brokerage. Now, it's going to let you know what's going to happen with the data. It's going to let you know what's going to happen with any active listings. It's going to let you know with any contracts that have been executed with you and your client. So you need to have that information ready. Now, when you're leaving a real estate brokerage, the most pressing issue is how to handle current and future business. So current business are the buyers that you're working with, the listings that you have, That's current business. And new business or future business is that business that you will be getting in the next day, in the next week, in the next month. It's that time period between when the decision of you leaving your brokerage has made and when you can officially do business with that new brokerage. So there's that lag time that you need to be factoring in. And this is truly why you need to review all of the documents that you executed, because it will let you know what happens in these situations. And just so you know, you as a real estate agent that's practicing real estate under a broker, every client that you have, believe it or not, is actually not your client. It's the broker's. So any document that was signed, any contract from a listing perspective, it wasn't signed between the client and you. It was signed between the client and the broker. So it's actually the broker's listings. And this is precisely why this video is so important. You do not want to leave thousands upon thousands of dollars of commission at your brokerage if you can help it. Now, in some situations, you can't help it. We'll talk about that in the next step, but understand that it's important to know what you are doing as you transition out. So let's get into it. I'll give you both extremes. In the perfect world, if your broker is fantastic, incredible, amazing, and they really want you to succeed, any listings, any buyer agreements that you have in place, anything that you have executed, they will do away with any of those and allow you to take your clients with you. They'll allow you to go to your new brokerage without any liability or without any encumbrances is a better way of saying it. Now, on the other extreme, you see the complete opposite. The broker will keep anything with them. They'll keep any listing that was already executed. They'll keep that in-house. Any agreements that are in place, they'll keep them in-house and do everything possible to keep you from benefiting in commission. Now, this is not a law channel, nor do I pretend to be, but I have had all these conversations with real estate agents, and several hundred of them have actually made the move. So I've seen a good amount of approaches from different brokerages. Most of them will meet in the middle, and it looks something like this. Any business that is not under contract is taken with the agent to the new brokerage. That's what happens in a lot of scenarios. Now, anything that's under contract, such as a listing that was executed and is just waiting a couple of days or a couple of weeks to close, they'll keep that listing in-house. They'll keep that listing with the broker, and then the broker will send over a commission to the agent just as normal. But of course, every state is different. Every brokerage is different. Everybody has different rules and regulations. So I'm just speaking from personal experience of all the agents that I've worked with. Now, I say all of this in preparation for the next step, because it's this next step that's going to dictate, for the most part, how the separation is going to go. Is it going to be a pretty friendly one, or is it going to be a disaster? The next step is the face-to-face meeting with your broker. Now, I strongly encourage you that it be a face-to-face exchange, not something that happens over the phone, by text, by email. Now, you will use something written on the back end after you have the conversation with the broker, but if you can do it, I strongly encourage you to make it a face-to-face conversation. And oftentimes I get asked for pointers on what to say, and I say the same thing. Be as honest as possible, be as brief as possible, and just make it about business. So if you're looking for verbiage to say, check this out. I really appreciate everything you've done for me. However, at this time, I would love to pursue this new opportunity. In the event things don't work out though, I'd love for you to consider me again. Now you can use that word for word, but I encourage you to actually change things up slightly to make it more like your voice. The important thing here is that you don't want to burn bridges. You want to make it as professional as possible, because at the end of the day, you are in a small community. Believe it or not, you are in a very small real estate agent community, and you don't know when you're going to be in front of that broker again or in front of other agents within that brokerage when you're negotiating a deal. Now, it's important that in that meeting, you remember as many details as possible, because you're going to need to remember these details for the next assignment, which is following up that conversation with an email to the broker so as to summarize what you discussed in that meeting, because this is going to serve as written documentation in the event that you need it in the future. Now, let me know in the comments section down below how many brokerages you've been a part of, and also don't forget about our sponsor, the subscribe button.